General Hospital spoilers tease that a new disaster is about to erupt and throw everything into chaos, and that is the sudden disappearance of Michael and Sasha's daughter Daisy. As the news spreads, all of their family members, friends, and those who have followed their lives are in a state of shock. A sense of helplessness and fear prevails, as an innocent child is taken away from her parents in a situation that no one could have expected. This is not only a shock to Michael's family, but also a sign that all the efforts they have put in over the years seem to be in vain, when the safety of their beloved child is no longer guaranteed. Sasha and Michael, who have fought for so long to protect and regain custody of their child, now have to face a fear they never imagined. From fighting in courtrooms, facing accusations and intrigues, they now not only fear for their custody but also fight to save their daughter from the hands of an unknown enemy. A sense of helplessness seems to permeate their minds, as all they can do is wait, hope, and do whatever it takes to find out who is behind this disappearance. This crazy story not only brings shock to Michael's family but also proves that the dangers they face are never-ending. The enemies they fought to defeat, the plots they thought were buried, are now back, and everything seems to be exploding in a way they cannot control. The new adjustments in Michael and Sasha's lives, the strategies they used to protect their family, are no longer effective enough. New threats are looming, and one big question hangs in the air. Who is behind this kidnapping? Why was their daughter Daisy targeted? As everything unravels, Sasha and Michael face a whole new fear, one that neither of them is prepared for. The loss of Daisy is not only an emotionally devastating event, but also an attack on everything they have built up to this day. Their family, which seemed to have achieved stability after so many trials, is now in unprecedented danger. Every moment is a shock, and the feeling of insecurity grows as they lose control of what is happening. Daisy's disappearance is not only a test for Michael and Sasha, but also a reminder that their lives are never truly peaceful, and danger lurks in places they least expect. Every call, every text message, all fail to bring the answers they need. Sasha and Michael know that the longer they wait, the greater the danger to Daisy. And the scary thing is, they don't know who is behind this. All of Michael and Sasha's past enemies, those who have caused them pain and hardship, could now be behind the kidnapping. Is this revenge from old enemies they thought they had defeated? Or is someone new, with a secret connection to the family, looking to use the kidnapping of a child to further their own goals? Michael and Sasha's new adjustments in behavior and mentality are showing an unprecedented level of fear in them. They are not only worried about Daisy's safety, but also facing the fear of a life that is no longer their own. The threat from outside is now more than just a simple story, it has become a life-or-death struggle. Sasha, a mother who is grieving the loss of her child, must now become a warrior, facing her greatest fears and fighting to save her family. Michael, with his protective nature, is now more determined. But at the same time he is also facing heavy pressure and mental crisis. The search for Daisy is not only a physical pursuit but also a psychological struggle. As Michael and Sasha face painful memories of the dark days they have lived through, the events of the past, the enemies they once faced, now return in the form of the greatest crisis of their lives. Every step in their search is a challenge not only physical but also psychological. Can they find their beloved daughter before it is too late? The fears that Michael and Sasha face now are not only for Daisy's safety but also for the survival of their family. The child is not only a continuation of their love but also the hope, the faith they have placed in the future. When Daisy goes missing, that hope seems to be threatened, and they must do everything they can to keep the family they have worked so hard to build. But can they overcome this challenge? Or will everything they have worked for collapse in a moment? This story, full of dangers and difficulties, is also an opportunity for Michael and Sasha to reevaluate what is truly important in their lives. And while everything seems to be falling apart, one question still rings in their minds. Who will come to their aid? Who will help them bring Daisy home safely? The danger is getting closer, but do they have the strength to weather this storm? The answer will only be revealed through each step and decision they have to make in the challenging days ahead. Michael and Sasha are facing a serious and stressful situation. After their beloved child, Daisy, is kidnapped, their lives are turned upside down. It is not simply a disappearance, but now. The incident has become a terrible nightmare when a threatening letter appears, along with a ransom demand for Daisy's safety. The letter not only leaves them in a state of confusion, but also pushes them into a battle against time, when every decision can change the fate of their daughter. Sasha and Michael, who have been through countless challenges in life, now face an unprecedented anxiety. While Michael has always prided himself on his ability to protect his family and children, this time he feels powerless against the power of unknown enemies. With each passing moment, their anxiety and stress increase, when the threat is not only physical but also mental. A threatening and ransom letter is an extremely dangerous tool. It not only makes clear demands but also makes them face painful questions. Can they save their daughter without paying too high a price? Can they defeat the enemy in this situation? This kidnapping and ransom story is pushing Michael and Sasha to the limits of their patience and reason. Not only do they have to face their fears for their daughter's safety, but they also have to figure out how to resolve the situation without harming themselves. From a seemingly stable family, they are now in a tense struggle, where every decision can lead to serious consequences. The ransom threat is only the first step, but the evil is not over yet, and Michael and Sasha understand that if they do not act quickly, their daughter may forever fall into the hands of criminals. This leads to a new calculation by Michael, when he realizes that he cannot wait and negotiate with the kidnappers forever. Michael knows that if he does not take the initiative, if he does not make a bold move, Daisy may never return. So he decides to implement his own strategy. A plan that goes further than the kidnappers can imagine. But as he tries to calculate each step, Sasha feels things are spiraling out of control. With each passing minute, she feels more and more the pressure from both the kidnapper and the important decisions they have to make. The new calculations that Michael and Sasha are making are not simply about finding a way to save their daughter, but also about maintaining stability in their family and dealing with unpredictable dangers. In particular, one of the new obsessions they face is not knowing what the kidnapper will ask for next. Will they continue to increase the ransom demand, or even take things further, threatening Daisy's life? These thoughts haunt them, making every minute heavy and tiring. While Michael devotes all his energy to finding new information, Sasha struggles with extreme fear and anxiety. The situation becomes more complicated when both of them realize that the enemy not only wants ransom but also wants to test their patience. This gradually turns the battle to get Daisy back into a psychological war, where persistence and calm strategy will decide the final outcome. One of the biggest obsessions they face is whether they can find out who is behind the kidnapping before it's too late, and whether they have the strength to confront them when the truth is revealed. This crazy story is proving that everything in Michael and Sasha's lives can change in a moment. The kidnappers are not just a physical threat. They are part of a larger game where every move must be carefully calculated. Michael and Sasha are not only fighting for their daughter's safety, but they are also facing intrigues and tricks they never thought they would have to face. Every time they think they are closer to their goal, new obstacles appear, making things more tense and difficult. Their anxiety grows, and one of the most important adjustments they have to make is learning to face their fears. They must decide that no matter how difficult it gets, they will not give up this fight, and they will not let the kidnappers break their family spirit. However, the most important thing at this moment is whether they can find a way to solve the problem without paying too high a price, not only for themselves but for those they love. Michael is at a major turning point in his life, having won the custody battle for Wiley and Amelia. This is not a simple victory, but the result of a series of hard-fought battles, calculations, patience, and great sacrifices. This battle is not just a fight for custody, but also a fight to protect his loved ones and hold on to what he has. However, even though he has won custody, this victory does not mark the end of his troubles. In fact, it is only now beginning, and the next threat Michael faces is greater than any challenge he has faced before. One of the major changes Michael faces is the danger that is coming from a man named Jen Sidwell. Sidwell is a cunning and dangerous character who may not be directly involved in the custody battle, but is certainly a serious threat to Michael's family. Sidwell has always been a man who stands in the shadows, plotting grand plans, and never hesitates to use extreme measures to achieve his goals. Michael has faced Sidwell before, but now, with a new victory in hand, he realizes that he cannot underestimate this enemy. The threat from Sidwell is not just a simple fight, but a struggle for power, patience, and decisiveness in every action. This has pushed Michael into an unforeseen situation, as he begins to calculate every decision in his life more meticulously. Previously, when facing Drew, Michael could rely on integrity and conscience to fight, but with Sidwell, things are different. Sidwell is not someone who can be defeated by simple strategies or social justice. He is intelligent, cunning, and willing to go to great lengths with dark schemes and connections to achieve his goals. Sidwell has always known how to exploit the weaknesses of others, and Michael understands that now. To protect his family, he cannot rely on conventional fighting methods. The change in the way Michael approaches his life today is something that many people do not immediately recognize. No longer a person who only knows how to protect his rights through trials and debates, Michael is now a true strategist. He faces greater and more complex dangers, and the choices he makes affect not only himself but also all the loved ones around him. Michael must not only fight to protect his family, but he must do everything in his power to stop Sidwell and the dangerous plots he is preparing. This is not a battle of love or protection, but a life or death battle, where every decision matters. Michael's life is no longer just about custody or protecting his family. His decisions now pose a bigger question: how far can he go to achieve his goals without losing everything? This story is not just about the custody battle, but also a fight to regain control of his life and protect the people he loves from unpredictable dangers. Every decision Michael makes must be carefully calculated, because he knows that a small mistake can lead to irreversible consequences. This proves that his life is no longer a series of peaceful days, but a constant struggle to preserve what he has. The changes and adjustments in Michael's life also cause his family to face new challenges. Sasha, Michael's partner, is a strong and resilient woman. But she cannot help but feel worried and scared when witnessing these changes. She loves Michael and the children with all her heart, but she also knows that in this battle, Michael cannot fight alone without her support. Together, the two face new difficulties, and Sasha realizes that their lives can never be the same again. The dangers of Sidwell are looming over their family, and they must face them with all the strength and patience they can muster. Michael's new calculations in life do not stop at dealing with Sidwell but also open a new war within the family, a war of trust and loyalty. Every step Michael takes now is not only a fight with an external enemy but also a war with the relationships within the family. Sasha and Michael not only need to deal with Sidwell but also have to find a way to maintain harmony within the family, because every wrong step can cause everything to collapse. Sidwell, with all his scheming and plotting, has become an enemy that cannot be underestimated. He not only wants power but also wants to hurt Michael's family, to prove that no one can stand against him. This story gradually becomes a struggle not only for power but also for the survival of Michael's family. Every change in his life now pushes the story to a new turning point. A turning point that can change everything forever. With each new calculation, each new strategy Michael adopts, he faces increasingly complex challenges. The decisions he makes now affect not only his family, but everyone around him. Can he win not only the custody battle, but also the battle with Sidwell, an unpredictable enemy? And will his decisions be strong enough to keep his family safe, when things are becoming more difficult and dangerous than ever? The answer will only be revealed in the following situations. When Michael's calculations and strategies are tested and proven, Michael, a man who has been through so much in his life, now faces a new life and death battle that he never expected. After winning custody of his son in a long-running battle with Drew, he thought he could find peace and stability for his family. But that peace only lasted for a short time, when a new danger began to appear with a power greater than any challenge he had ever faced. This danger is Sidwell. A man with the ability to control and manipulate not only people but also the situation of Michael's family. With the criminal plots he had committed in the past, Sidwell is not someone who can be ignored easily. Since his return to Michael and Sasha's lives, everything seems to have been turned upside down. Not just an enemy that Michael once faced in the shadows, Sidwell has now expanded his scope of activities and become the biggest threat to Michael's family. But what makes things worse is that Sidwell has kidnapped Michael and Sasha's daughter, Daisy, and is holding her hostage to threaten their family. For Michael and Sasha, this is not only a huge shock but also an unprecedented psychological struggle. Daisy, their innocent daughter, is now in the hands of the enemy. And all they can do is try to figure out a way to save her before it's too late. Sidwell's taking away their beloved child as a bargaining chip makes things much worse. They both know that if they don't act quickly, the consequences will be even worse. But the question is, what can they do to get their daughter back without falling into the hands of Sidwell's dark schemes? Sidwell is not someone who can be defeated easily. He doesn't simply demand a ransom like a normal kidnapper, but he also wants complete control over Michael's life. Every decision Michael and Sasha make now could determine Daisy's safety. Will they have enough time to deal with Sidwell, who is one step ahead of them, who has calculated their every move, and who has set inescapable traps? Michael, who has been through so much in his life, now faces a greater challenge than ever before. Saving Daisy is not a simple rescue, but a battle of wills. Michael must decide between giving in to Sidwell's demands and sacrificing the values he has held dear all his life, or finding a way to defeat him without harming those he loves. Michael knows that any wrong decision could come at a terrible cost, losing Daisy, losing the safety of his family, or even losing everything he has built. But just when Michael thinks he has the situation under control, factors beyond his control arise. It is the involvement of other characters in this war, who can bring help or even create new troubles. Old enemies, old friends, all can be cards that Sidwell will use to push Michael into a more difficult position. The complex relationships between these characters not only make things unpredictable but also create situations that Michael cannot predict. Although Sasha is willing to do anything to protect her daughter, she also has to face inevitable feelings of fear and insecurity as a mother. She understands that every decision Michael makes will have a huge impact on Daisy's future. But at the same time, Sasha can't help but worry about what Michael will have to sacrifice to save his daughter. Will he be able to maintain his resolve in this situation? Will Michael's strategies and calculations be enough to defeat Sidwell, or will they be stuck in a war with no way out? This story is going down a path that even Michael could not have foreseen. The challenges he faces are not only about saving his daughter, but also about facing the ghosts of his past. Sidwell is not the only one threatening Michael's family. There are other enemies who are silently watching and waiting for the opportunity to strike. Michael's every move must be carefully calculated, because a mistake could lead to Daisy's death, or unforeseen consequences. And as Michael tries to figure out how to handle the situation, new events are unfolding. His decisions will not only affect his family, but could cause ripples that affect the entire community. The dangers go beyond Sidwell's kidnapping of Daisy, to the deeper plots he is preparing. Every calculation, every action could change the fate of Daisy and Michael's family. With each passing moment, Michael and Sasha realize that they are not only fighting to get Daisy back, but to protect everything they love. This fight is not just about power or control, but also about preserving the values they have built up over the years. Michael must face not only Sidwell, but also himself, as he is forced to make decisions that will affect the entire future of his family. This story is not only a fight for survival but also a fight against prejudices, enemies and difficult decisions that Michael and Sasha must face. Can Michael win Daisy back before it is too late? Or will this fight push his family into situations they cannot control? The answer will only be revealed when the final calculations are made, when Michael's every decision is tested in this fierce struggle. Since Sasha welcomed her daughter Daisy into her life, the great happiness that she and Michael have felt has never been complete. Daisy is not only a beloved child but also a symbol of hope and new beginnings for their family after so many challenges. However, the situation that Sasha and Michael are facing now is like a terrible nightmare from which they cannot wake up. The danger to their family has never let up. And now Sasha faces the possibility of losing another child, something she never imagined would happen, but which has now become a haunting reality. Sidwell, Daisy's kidnapper, is not just a simple criminal but part of a deep conspiracy to take away everything Sasha and Michael have fought to protect. The nightmare begins with Daisy's kidnapping. But what becomes more evident is the fear that Sasha may face losing her beloved child forever. Each day is a tense ordeal, where hope and fear intertwine. As the fight to get Daisy back becomes a struggle not only physical but also emotional. For Sasha, losing another child could be an unbearable shock. After all she has been through during her long pregnancy and raising Daisy, facing the possibility of losing this child feels like she is being pushed into an abyss with no way out. She has experienced the pain of losing a child before, and now, with Daisy, she seems to have found peace. But fate has thrown her into a worse test than ever. This loss could plunge her into a state of despair, forcing her to face pain that seems insurmountable. Sasha fears not only for Daisy's safety, but also for what this loss will cause her. She fears that the pain of losing her child again will leave her unable to continue fighting, unable to stand firm against the harsh challenges that life will pose. This affects not only her personal feelings but also her relationship with Michael. They both love Daisy with all their hearts, but when everything seems to be falling apart, Sasha realizes that she cannot overcome this pain on her own. When their faith in life is threatened by loss, will they be able to stand firm? Every day, every hour. The threat from Sidwell is not only an attack on their family but also a brutal psychological war. Sasha and Michael are faced with unpredictable decisions. And each choice leads to an outcome they could not have expected. Can they keep Daisy safe in this situation? Can Sasha bear another loss in her life? Sasha's life is not only about keeping what she loves, but also about fighting to protect her own faith and resilience. Losing a child once is a big shock. But losing it again would be an unacceptable disaster. The fears that Sasha faces now are not only about caring for her daughter, but also about facing the ghosts of the past that are coming back into her life. From a strong mother, she becomes a helpless woman in a situation she cannot control. Sasha knows that everything is now not just a simple fight to get her daughter back, but a battle with her own emotions and mind. She can save Daisy, but the price to pay may be very high. Losing a child is not only physically painful, but also mentally devastating in a way that no one can understand. Feelings of despair, fear, and anxiety not only leave Sasha feeling like she has lost everything, but also make her face the truth that sometimes life doesn't always have a happy ending. And as the search for Daisy becomes more intense and complicated, Sasha can't help but feel that everything she once believed in and hoped for is now at stake. She must make a decision. Fight with herself and with an enemy she can't see. But in this fight, will she have the strength to overcome all challenges, or will she be crushed by the pain she is feeling? This new tragedy, the possibility of losing another child, is not only a physical threat, but also a mental one. Her love for Daisy, and the hope she has placed in this child, are now being brutally tested. Every decision, every action, every moment she and Michael make is pushing them into a dangerous situation, where every decision could lead to the collapse of everything. Sasha understands that not only she but the whole family is facing an unforeseen disaster, and that is what makes her rethink what she can really do to save everyone.